Unfiltered. Like you're in another world, like you zoned out. You know what I'm saying?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unfiltered. I'm your host, Georgii Speakman. Unfiltered is a show that explores entrepreneurship, creativity, and the human experience. So today's guest is my dear friend and the founder and entrepreneur, owner, runner, creator of Vida Bela, which is a lifestyle movement previously known as BeFit Community. This is an evolved brand that she is undertaking and about to unleash onto the world. So we're going to dive in today on Bella's gems journey and how she came to arrive at building this incredible movement that she has and is. I recently did an episode on human communication, and I actually mentioned what Bella has curated and created here in Atlanta and beyond. Um, the importance of human communication and connection in different environments, under different circumstances, and for different reasons. But today, we want to dive in on how, why, where, when, all the things that got Bella to the point that she's at and in today. So lovely to have you here, honey bun. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing and honored and super excited to be part of this amazing podcast.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah,
Likewise.
really, yes, thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
So I'm a fan of your what I've known as your community, right? Like I'm
Mhm.
still kind of attached a little bit to BeFit community, and I know that you're about to unleash and rebrand as Vida Bella as a lifestyle movement, which is really really exciting. Tell us a bit about BeFit and what we're going to sort of or expect to see as a part of the level up with Vida Bella.
Totally. So, BeFit has always been a brand associated with fitness and healthy habits. So, the idea of BeFit originated from focus, intention, and trust. So, it's a process where we evolve as humans by just literally focusing on what we need to focus more on, have more intention in our actions and how we spend our time and energy, and also trusting the process, right? Like a lot of
Mm.
times we don't believe in ourselves, so that's why we self-sabotage and put ourselves in positions that we're not winning. So rather, BeFit is meant to create a different mindset and push people forward towards their journey of self-growth and well-being. And with that, after relaunching it in November last year, I after that went to Brazil, where I spent 20 days with my family and friends, and I had a lot of like aha moments there as I was noticing how people there have so much less financially, but so much more in their soul, like in a soul
Mm.
level, in their happy way of being and just enjoying life. And I realized that as a part of my essence, that a lot of people are attracted to or wanted to know more how to be more energetically connected or
Hmm.
how to be more uplifting and things like that. And I realized that it's much more than just being focused, intentional, and trust the process. It's more about creating a life that we're truly happy living, that we really create a vibrant lifestyle for us. And it's different for everybody, but as long as we are continuously and habituously creating that lifestyle, we can actually really flourish and feel that vibrancy and that happy energy and feel connected to our soul and things like that. So that's where Vida Bella is evolving to become more a lifestyle movement where we're not just embodying healthier habits, but we're also doing self-care, we're doing personal growth, and we are really connecting with ourselves and others in a level that we feel that fulfillment daily. And it doesn't need to be when we travel or when we, buy something, or no, it can be now. It can be doing anything. It can be drinking a coffee in the morning. It could be taking a shower. We can find that fulfillment. We just need to tap into
I
it.
love
And I can
that.
guide people through that.
100%. I love that. I have so many questions for you. So, I have really, really loved the events that you've held so far. And I think we had really kicked off with the Monday motivation. Tell us more about what the community is going to entail or the movement is going to entail. And I know that there's a membership, for example, and I want to explore some of this before we dive into more of the nitty gritty questions. But just to give people more context up front about what they could expect if they were to join and become a part of Vida Bela as a lifestyle movement.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, there are four pillars, right? So, I'm going to explain each. The number one is healthy habits. So, that's what shapes your lifestyle, right? First is what are you eating? How are you feeding your body? How are you moving your body? And how are you resting your body? Like, that's primary needs as a human. You know, if you go to the Maslow hierarchy of needs, first is making sure you're safe in your body. A lot of times, we're not even safe in our bodies. We don't like our bodies. We're judging our.
Mm.
So connecting to our bodies means prioritizing what it needs to happen in order to feel good in yourself, like in your body. So that requires habits and that requires willpower to change some, habits that we acquire along our life, but they're not working for us. So I help people create that synergy between who they want to be and where they are and bridge that gap.
Right.
So that's number one. Number two is self care. Self care goes beyond just like the regular habits of the day. It goes to like a massage, a therapy, maybe a personal trainer, maybe, like eating, having a meal prepping company, maybe having, other external things outside of yourself that not just you having that self accountability with your healthy habits, but you also investing in yourself now. So we have a series of different professionals and facilitators and
Yes.
experiences that you can take inside of the community for a discounted price that can empower your life, right? So we have the best of the best. I mean, people that I personally experience and I try their services and products, and I'm like, wow, like these people need to be known and need to be seen.
Yes.
So that is really empowering too, you know?
Yes, 100%. The best recommendations are always through word of mouth. You know, like historically, if it's been a therapist of whatever nature, there's so many different types. A naturopath, a dry needling, acupuncturist,
Totally.
all those kinds of things. It usually always comes through word of mouth. So the power of what you're building, I have already seen and experienced the benefits of, and the curation of the individuals that have already become a part of the community but are offering these services are really unique and interesting, because there's been like from those that own hydrogen water companies, so
Yeah.
elevating your experiences consuming water, through to your point, like organic, incredible food catering and food prepping companies, even a hypnotherapist that I know that you've personally engaged that has been very beneficial to you, and so many more. So that's
Yes.
really really amazing.
Totally. So that's the second pillar. And I'm, creating connections with these facilitators and professionals so they can offer something very great for our community, our tribe. We're going to call Vibe Tribe, our new, the members of this lifestyle movement. And then the third is personal growth. So for that, we're going to have monthly workshops and an onboarding where we're going to be going with a very high level professional. She has a master's degree in positive psychology, and she's going to dissect every single one of the members of the Vida Bella to see where we are personally, like, where our people pleaser habits, where our controlling habits, where are they going and how are they sucking the
Mm.
life out of us, and how
Mm-hmm.
can we shift those habits so we can actually really engage our energy towards ourselves more
Mm-hmm.
and figure out the best way to be our optimal selves.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, these workshops is gonna call Design Your Perfect Life. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really shifting habits and implementing different things in our day to day, in our mindset, to really create different narrow pathways that can actually help us create the segments of a lifestyle of a higher self, of a better self in the process of evolution. And then number four is community. So that's when events come along.
Right.
So I'm gathering a lot of different events that we can do from people of the community, but also one monthly event for the community specifically, where we're going to be hosting in this beautiful place. It's actually a friend of ours that owns it, And she is great at organizing events. We're going to have it there. We're going to have music. We're going to have a great time. I mean, I'm trying to combine, or I will combine the four elements of a great event, which is you learn, you experience, you have fun, and you connect, So it's like not going to be just a learning lesson. It's not going to be just, you're going to get something out of it. You're going to leave that place feeling fulfilled and feeling the value that will bring it to you and to your lifestyle. So that's my goal with the Vida Bella movement.
I love it. Well, it's already had a wonderful and positive impact on my life, and I know many others, and I can't wait for everything that's going to continue to unfold this year. Um, so, what was it within your life that spurred on your own movement within this realm of life? I think so many of us are always looking for solutions, in different areas of our life, health, spiritual, whatever it is, just general wellness. But what were the events and undertakings in your life that really triggered your interest in this space to the point that you've been driven to make and formulate this movement?
Totally. That's a very good question. So, I was born and raised in Brazil. My parents are still married. And, I went through like a lot of ups and downs with like just the chaos that I used to always encounter in my family. They still live that chaos, but I'm out of it now.
We
I
love
love
family
them, but
chaos.
but it's chaotic. So like I saw that upbringing and I was like, man, like these two humans are so great in so many ways, but there's like still so much conflict internally that they go through. So I grew up with that. So that's one. Number two, I played tennis my whole life. So when I was 7, I started playing tennis, and that sport really teaches you personal growth and resilience and endurance and like mental toughness, like all these
Mhm.
things, because you play by
Mhm.
yourself. Like you have
Mhm.
nobody to blame. You got to
Mhm.
figure it out.
Mhm.
Number three, I think coming to the US when I was 18 by
Mhm.
myself was really a testament of like, wow, I really had to step up and become independent and grow up and, develop certain skills and responsibilities that a regular
Absolutely.
person can't have, especially
Yeah.
coming from Brazil where you live with your parents until you're 30 or something. Uh, and then also I think that after my divorce, that was like I got married and I went through a divorce in 2020. And he was everything to me, like I was so codependent to that person, and my whole life was around
Mm.
him. So I didn't know myself without him. And when I actually got out, I was like, wow, I can't believe that for 7 years of my life I just forgot about Bella. Like, who is Bella?
Mm.
So coming back to that is just realizing that sometimes we repeat cycles with our
Mhm.
families and our patterns can be changed, but it's
Mhm.
up to us. It's up to our willingness to change and to
Mhm.
transform and to really become very tied to our core values and really shape the life that we deserve. That's the whole mojo of the Vida Bella movement is
Beautiful.
shape the lifestyle you deserve. Like we are the responsible ones for this, like nobody else.
1,000%. Yeah, it's one of my favorite sayings, which I refer to a lot, is if you don't go within, you go without, and meaning that if you don't, obviously the sooner you can kick off the self and inner work journey, um, ideally in a perfect world, life gets easier and easier, or better and better, or more and more fulfilling.
Mhm.
There is a sort of sentiment that the more work you do, the more things you uncover, which means the more you have to heal. So, really, the journey of life and self love and self development and self care is just this ongoing, ever expansive journey, which also comes back to the value and what you're creating and curating, because it is for everybody. You don't have to have an interest in health. It is your responsibility as a human being to kick off that journey and have that responsibility to self. So, what you're creating isn't just for certain people that have to be necessarily like-minded. It's just for every single human being that is actually willing to take like responsibility for themselves. And it's a hard task and a hard journey to really kick off and get that going, because I think I raised with you not that long ago, sometime last year, about the concept of resisting resistance, and how so many human beings aren't even aware of what they're avoiding, what their habits and deep-rooted patterns and behavioral choices, all the things that are actually informing avoidance, which is a form of resistance. And whether that's in starting that weight loss program, pursuing that dream, commencing a new exercise routine, like, whatever it is. And it's crazy because so many of these habits are so deeply ingrained that people they're not even aware that they're talking themselves out of being proactive, or writing that book, or whatever it is, right? So how did you get started in that? How did you break your own past cycles and really get started? Like, what did it take for you?
That's a very good question, because I think people create a monster in their head when they think
Yes.
about change.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like I'm gonna change and I'm gonna go through all these processes. Like, make tiny steps, like every
Tiny
day.
steps.
Like, don't go and reprogram your entire life in one day. Like, that's not gonna happen, right?
Why
Like,
not?
and people are just,
It would be nice.
that would be great, but
But
it's unrealistic, because when you create, for example, I see people like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Like, there's too
excuse me, I'm
much.
choking on my own coffee. I apologize. I just
There's
went down
too
the wrong.
much, and then people don't end up doing anything. So it's just like, okay, pick three things every week, like three small things, small changes. So, for example, last week I picked three things that I want to change. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go to bed at a certain time during the weekdays. Like, I put an alarm, and I literally have to be in bed at this time. And then I put, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna drink a tea, so that way it's like my way to get to bed. So, like, you create like
Micro
tiny little
habits.
steps, micro habits, and that will guide you to actually accomplish the habit. So it's like little stairs. So like there's like three levels of stairs for you to get there. So a lot of times it's like three tiny steps to get to where you want to go. A lot of times when you put like too many, unrealistic goals, and then you don't get them, that creates anxiety, because ambition without action becomes stagnation, and we don't want stagnation. And a lot of people are in that stage. So you
Yes.
can have the ambition, but create tiny actions. Don't go with like huge, tiny, like crazy steps forward. Like, you can't run a marathon if you haven't run 5 miles. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Or
Like,
been training for months on end. Yeah. It's that consistency, focus, all the things. Yeah.
yeah, you gotta prepare yourself. You gotta, create the right mindset. First, believe in yourself. Like, have a clear vision of what you want to accomplish. Like, feel the energy that needs to be pulled out of yourself to make that happen. Deviate yourself from distractions and things that are not bringing you up. Like, I don't care if it could be, your boyfriend, it could be your partner, it could be whatever, it could be your best friend. If they're not bringing the absolute best out of you, then don't, it's not needed. It's not needed. They have to understand their space. They have to, you have to communicate with them. I was just having a conversation with my mom right before this call, and she was like, well, I'm going to this like huge, she's an artist, so she's going to this huge exhibition, and my dad is already, like complaining, like, why you're doing this and that. It's like, if your partner is like, literally your partner is sabotaging your success, something needs to change. Right?
What does
Like,
she say to that? You might not want to answer that for here, but
well, it's 30 years of marriage. So she tends to succumb to that and thinks that's, and she was saying, I know this is not normal, but I know that it triggers his insecurities. And I was like, well, but a real man will actually see your light and want you to shine that light,
right,
right? Like, a
100%.
real man that knows his worth, that knows his value in this planet, he'll actually love to have a woman that have a bright light by his side. That's just,
Absolutely.
so then if it's a man that is not doing that for you, something has to shift. Either he understands from his core that having a powerful woman by his side is actually going to empower him, or he has to, like, move away, move away of my path, right?
You
So
hear that, Dad? No.
I know, I love him. He knows all of this. Like, this is not a secret. He knows.
No. um, So just assuming that you faced your own resistance when you first commenced your journey. I think, um, look, I've done so much self work over the years, right?
Yes.
I've done, I've studied Reiki. I got my Reiki masters many
Yes.
years ago. I studied Vedic meditation with Tom Knowles, which is like a predecessor of David Lynch's transcendental meditation. Like Vedic's a form of TM meditation. I've seen spiritual healers, different cleansers, like different spiritual practitioners. I practiced Nichiren Buddhism for many years. All these different modalities that I've been very curious to equip and arm myself with as part of the journey to get to know myself better, to align better with different teachings, whether it's Buddhism or whatever it is. But I share all that to say that it's quite astounding to me still how imperfect the human journey and experience is. And even with, at my age and stage, with all this knowledge and these years of garnering insights into these tools and what have you, I still absolutely have my days where I can't, I don't know how to put it, like, uh I don't have the drive behind me in the way that I would want to or think I should. And I think it's part of what we were talking about. It's like the resistance, but it's also sometimes we put so much pressure and expectation on ourselves, but it doesn't necessarily get easier, is
No.
what I've found. And I don't know if that's just me or if you can relate or others can relate. But just
Yes.
because we have the knowledge of all these things or many tools, you know, in our toolbox to leverage from, it doesn't always necessarily make the human experience and journey any easier when you're constantly having to fight that, either your inner demons or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tell me
So
more about that and
I would
how
love to
you,
tap into that because
yeah, how
this
you
is,
basically overcame any of those challenges when you first, set out on making those changes in your life to really kick off this journey.
yeah, nothing is perfect. And that's like a huge misconnotation. In social media today, we see all these people living the quote unquote perfect life. Like,
Yeah.
nobody's perfect. Like, I go through days that I'm here like crying in my bed, out of nowhere. And I'm like, why am I crying? I don't even know, but it needs to come
Mm,
out, and I'm crying. I'm just like, I guess I have to let this go. We go through challenges, and things will happen. I mean, just inevitable. Like, we
mhm,
are in this life. However, I really like this. You said Buddhism. I love this quote from Buddha. It's like, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, right?
mm,
So, like, this is very powerful because
mhm,
we will go through pain. Like, that's
mhm,
just the way that the grown pains, right? Like, we go through transitions and we're unfolding, but however, when we feel stuck in the process of evolution because our ego is trapping some sort of like old belief system or old way of doing things, because again, at some point that little ego protected us against something, and that worked for a period of time. But
mhm,
then after a
mhm,
while, you have to let that go.
mhm,
Otherwise, you can't continue to evolve. It's like,
mhm.
it's heavy, and you feel the heaviness, and you're just like trying to hold on. You're like,
Right.
it makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense. You got to let go. And that's literally how plants, how animals, how nature evolves. And we're the only beings that have this little conscious, the little neurocortex here, trying to figure out. And a lot of times we're trapping ourselves instead of freeing ourselves.
Mhm,
So the process of evolution, we go through little like video games, if you will. So like,
mhm.
there's levels, and in each level you will encounter quote unquote a challenge,
Right.
something that will
Yes.
put you in a position of like, you got to step up, you gotta grow, you gotta
Right.
evolve.
100%.
And if you don't, you're gonna get stuck in that little phase.
Right.
Many
Something.
people are still stuck in the same phase for years, and
Yes. Yes.
probably
Yeah.
lost.
That's when it's scary. That's when my heart goes out to us little human beings when you do see people, or perhaps people close to you that just cannot move on from that stuck place, or move forward. But again, like, I guess there's timing. There's also like cycles, and there's so many different factors that come into the human experience and journey.
Totally.
I learned, whenever it was, and I think it was really helpful, which is it sort of speaks to what we're discussing here, which is a lot of us expect or want to feel happiness the whole time. Like we want to feel happy all the time. But somebody made the profound sort of statement or comments or whatever that, happiness is a temporary, like a emotion and feeling. But life, to your point, when you reference video games or just like when you evolve, you move on, and life is going to present you with the next challenge so that you can move through the next thing to evolve naturally, because literally that's what we're here to do, is just constantly evolve. We sometimes take 2 steps forward and 20 back, or 20 forward and 2 back, whatever. Again, it's just depending on what's going on in life, your timing and all the things. But life, quite frankly, is actually riddled with problems that we are constantly having to solve and overcome. Naomi Watts, the Australian actress, and she's now an author. She's got her brand Stripes, which and the book is called Dare I Say It, I think, and it's just come out, and it's all about women experiencing the likes of perimenopause and menopause, and how it came on very, very early for her, and how it made her feel incredibly isolated and all these different things. She was overwhelmed with symptoms and what have you. And I reference that to say that, yes, you can make so many different proactive steps and stages, but how do you address where human beings are at in their journey, whether it's hormonal, it's age driven, because somebody might like say, right, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days this week, but just physically not have the energy to do it, and not be in the right mental space to do it. Or, I mean, it could be any circumstance or scenario. I know people that obviously suffer anxiety or depression, and that even though they have the intention for growth, they have different things that are in the way of that, of them being able to evolve or put the steps in place to get themselves out of that place. So what sort of advice do you have for people in those random places that it's not just about, hey, I want to evolve and change, but there's just a little bit more to consider as a part of the picture?
Totally. I think they need a system and humility to see that maybe things are not going the way they want, and the awareness that something needs to shift. Meaning, let's say if they're feeling a difference in their hormonal levels, right? Like you said, they need to do a DNA test. By the way, we have that in our lifestyle movement. We have Dr. Lori. She does a
Awesome.
DNA test that tests you for everything, for your hormones, for your DNA. I mean, literally, it codes what needs to happen in your life from
Wow.
nutrition standpoint, from maybe like you need some supplements, you need something to activate parts of you that have been sleeping, or they have been numb, or they have been, honestly not in a good position, right? So it's like there's the chemical side of things, which is the chemistry of our bodies that could be misaligned because we go through processes that misalign that. So do the DNA test for that. Then you have the energy. So you can do like I do Reiki as well. You can do
Yes.
energy cleanses and things like
Yeah.
that. We also have a spiritual coach in the group that she does entire process of cleansing your energy field. There's also the mental, right? So like you could have even the hormones imbalance, you could have the energy imbalance, but your mind is trapped in negative old patterns and limiting beliefs. And that's why you need Brian in your life. You need a hypnotherapist, because the therapy in itself is going to be great. However, it's going only to take you so far, because you're biased. Your mind is going to trap you in a belief system that is working for you at some point. And even your therapist, from more amazing that they can be, they don't know you. They don't know you. They know you from maybe the time that you started with them, and that's it. They don't know you, your heritage. They don't know your heritage, your life, like all the deep,
All the
deep
things.
details.
Yeah.
they can't get to your subconscious as much as a hypnotherapist can. So that's what I highly recommend Brian. He had changed my life in so many ways already. And I'm like, I literally, and I've been going through so many personal development journeys and activities and events. Trust me, I've done that. So I know
Yeah.
what it feels like.
Yeah. And that they're all amazing things at the time, like I literally, when I pursued Nichiren Buddhism, when I first got to LA, I had just tapped into an amazing community of women. And I ended up, because I was just like, Christianity isn't quite sort of entirely satiating all the different sides of what it is that I'm looking for. And I had found a lot of solace in prior teachings and books, a lot of books that I had read in my late teenage and early 20 years,
Hmm.
on Buddhism, ancient wisdom, modern world. There's a whole range of them that were very impactful. But I was able to commit to chanting twice a day, every day for 4 years, and I knew
Wow.
those chants um, off by heart, all that kind of stuff. But then I found myself just growing out of it. And then I moved on to other things. So I think, again, there's just part of the journey. There's always, different, there's just different timing for different things that are going to work for you, which is part of the excitement of pursuing the self growth and self help, self love journey. Is there's so many different things to hopefully be open to. I mean, people might want change, but it doesn't actually mean that they're open. So I think, what's your advice on tapping into more openness? Because you actually have to be quite open minded to pursue a lot of these things, because most people think they're a-okay. A lot of people don't want to have to look at themselves in the mirror. They are happy to look in their look at their reflection, but not necessarily take ownership or responsibility, for where they are or how they're feeling. So what's some of your advice around that, and how to even overcome that? Just,
Yeah, we just like go through like a little analysis. Like, is your life really the happiest it could be? Like, is it really like, are you really satisfied in every realm of your life? And a lot of times people say, oh, I'm not, but I know that is not attainable. It's like, well, it's not attainable because you don't think it's attainable. It is attainable if you shift some patterns and some belief systems that are not working for you. It's like literally a old computer. So you can have an old computer. It's slow. It takes forever to download files. It's working. It's there. It's
yeah,
alive, but it takes forever.
yeah,
So if you want to have a optimal experience in this lifetime, you need that. So you have to first ask, like, do you want to have an optimal life experience or not?
mm-hmm,
If you want to have the same life with an old computer and you're happy that way, great. That's your life. That's your choice.
mm-hmm,
And we can't force people through their path of change. Maybe in
mm-hmm.
this lifetime, they prefer to be old computer. They prefer.
Yes, exactly. There's that too. Like, where are you at in your soul life cycle? You may be
That's
a
right.
brand new baby little soul. You may be a super, super old soul. So that also comes. That's why I'm like, there's so many different factors to how someone is able to manage and curate, and have the ability to openly pursue the journey. Just like we look at a lot of these older generations, same thing. I have comments, obviously, naturally. I'm sure we pretty much all of us do, about our parents. Like, you're very lucky if you have parents that are evolved and super open minded and spiritual, and all the things, and self aware. But a lot of these older generations, at least in these recent decades, aren't necessarily that way inclined. There's been talk about how the baby boomer generation has fucked a lot of people up, and fucked a lot of their kids up, because of the way they were raised, and all the things, and society's sort of infrastructure of whatever, um, raised them, and told them who they can and can't be. So we're obviously seeing a huge shift away from that. And like, obviously, we are continuing to evolve as a species, as there's more and more different healing modalities coming into play, and more openness generally amongst the human species. But it's interesting to see like how much we've all been impacted and influenced by these prior generations.
Yes, absolutely. But I do believe that we have different pathways and different levels. You know, some people are in this life, in this earth for the first time. Some people are in
Yes.
this just, you know, they're just getting to know everything and they're overwhelmed. So they prefer to just take, you know, slow and do things. But however, I do know that there's some people that are stuck. They're depressed, they're anxious, and they just are in denial that they are that way,
Mm.
right? Because it's better to put a mask on and pretend than actually in their mind. But then when they actually see the other side of things, it's like actually pretending and doing all these crazy things is not helping me because I go home and I'm still like feeling awful inside. Like that's not the vibe. That's not the vibe. So the vibe tribe is literally inclined to help people really put themselves in this position of vulnerability of like, man, like life is not okay, but it's okay too. Like,
Yes.
let me tell
It's
people
okay not to be okay. And I think
exactly.
more and more people should be okay with that.
That's right. And then like once
Yeah.
we open the door for that, guess what?
Yes.
Then I can then share and then I can share
Yes.
back and then we can like, oh my gosh, I'm not crazy. I'm not an isolated person in this planet. Like I can actually relate with my
Mhm.
fellow humans and we're all coming together to
Mhm.
evolve as like
Mhm.
maybe you are in a pathway that I need to learn and vice versa. Like we
Mhm.
can guide and help each
Oh
other
yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's the beauty of interconnectivity.
100%. Never underestimate the ability. Again, this is an openness thing, but like I truly believe that every single human being on planet Earth has a powerful voice, a great story to tell. Everybody's been through something. We are not alone. It's really easy to isolate and separate yourself. A lot of people think they're better than others or whatever, whatever. But at the end of the day, we've all got a heart, mind, soul. Yes, we we're all born in different bodies at different times, places, what have you. But at the end of the day, you can learn something from every single human being on planet Earth. And like we're surrounded by knowledge and like opportunity for growth. But if we choose to be open to it, and I think that's an ego thing. When there's so much separation, it limits people's ability to like learn from others. But that's where community and what you're creating is so impactful and valuable because obviously it's welcoming in everybody and everybody has something to share. So I love seeing the beauty in that. And I just want to say congratulations again. And I can't wait to see the evolution of Vida Bella. I'm so honored to be your friend. And before we leave for today, just share with people because obviously we're in market here in Atlanta, but if people are out of state or whatever, how where can people find you? How can they become involved? And share all those types of details.
Absolutely. So your Vida Bella will become a national movement here very soon. So I do definitely want other communities to be born in different cities from
Mm-hmm.
this, hosting events and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
my goal is to help everybody be their best, even being part of the community themselves through this like daily messages, workouts, activities, things that we can empower each other. Like the workshop is virtual every month. The onboarding is virtual. Like the only things that are in person is the events. So right now we're in the process of launching the landing page. So please follow me just on Instagram for now and keep up with everything that we're building. My Instagram is Be Fit by Bella. It's still Be Fit by Bella, as it is my personal brand. But again, we're gonna be launching the new Instagram page. Everything is gonna be really high level, and I'm super excited for
Yes.
that.
Beautiful. And then obviously we'll include all the details in the description of all the videos below and all the rest. But I want to say thank you so much again, my love. It's been a pleasure to have you on Unfiltered today because life is unfiltered.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we've talked about today. So I love that we get to grow and learn together, and hopefully others have been able to feel inspired or taken something away today from the conversation. And hopefully we can have you back in due course. And yeah, much love to you and to the Vida Bella community.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And one takeaway or one intention for the week is to truly be the most authentic version that you can be. I mean, really be yourself, and you will attract who is meant to be in your life. Like whoever is meant to be in your life will be there if you are more authentic. And I promise you, it's worthwhile.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you, Bella.
Thank you.
Wishing you a beautiful Sunday, and we'll see you soon.
Same. Thank you.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you.
Unfiltered.
Like you're in another world, like you zone out. You know what I'm saying?